very, very confused. Honestly, I'm really confused. I'm not quite sure what it is James Gunn is attempting to do with this creature Commandos, but it just ain't working out well for me at all. I really not understanding it because okay, this is his first entry into the DCU. Yes, we know it's officially going to be Superman, but this is the way he's starting off with it with the creature Commandos. And this was supposed to be a completely new thing, completely reboot, all of that. But this is taking place after what happened with the whole Starro thing and whatnot on the island and all of that weirdness. You think about it, I'm not gonna go through something that don't make sense here. It basically sort of like, Cersei, who's, might know better from like Wonder Woman and stuff, she and some followers called the Sons of Themyscira are attacking this nation called Pokolistan, right? And so Amanda Waller has General Rick Flag Sr., who is the father of Rick Flag Jr., who Peacemaker killed in the other Suicide Squad movie, right? She wants him to go there and save the princess and stop Cersei and all of that. But because her Task Force X got shut down, she has some other prisoners at Belrev who aren't quite human, and then they would be the best thing to do with Task Force M. So it has the bride, who is basically the bride of Frankenstein, Dr. Phosphorus, who basically is, like radiation, and that. You have GI Robot, who is a robot that was designed to kill Nazis. Apparently, it's killed like over 500 Nazis or something, so, right? And then you have Weasel from the Suicide Squad movie, and also you have Nina Mazursky, who is basically some kind of fish woman stuff in it, right? And she's like the most, you don't even know why the hell she's there, right? So they take off on a trip, go to Pokolistan or whatever, and they meet the princess who's there, right? They meet the princess, Princess Rostovic, and she's immediately coming on to Rick Flag. She wanted bad, bad, bad. She a real thirst for him, and like I'm immediately getting red flags about this woman because, fellas, as you would know, any woman who's that thirsty for the D is somebody you really need to be very cautious about. Understand me? She doesn't set off anything, and there's something about her that kind of worries me from the start. But then it just kind of, the show kind of gets even more ridiculous. And this whole thing where Dr. Phosphorus tries to steal this whole device that Rick Flag has that could shock all of them. There's this ridiculous fight that nobody cares about. But then you get to the even more ridiculous stuff. The bride apparently is from Pokolistan, right? And she goes to the castle of Dr. Frankenstein and there. Now, the whole time, you keep getting this whole vibe from her that she hates Dr. Frankenstein for ever creating her, and she's so bitter and sour and all that stuff. And then you get to see flashbacks of what happened. Apparently, Eric Frankenstein, who is Frankenstein's monster, wants Dr. Victor Frankenstein to make him a wife. He wants a wife, and he wanted to create, was it to create one from female cadavers. So he does that and brings her into the world. And she's there and the other and thing, and he's telling, well, I'm gonna say Dr. Frankenstein is telling Frankenstein more so that you have to be carefully scaring her. She's now come back to life and I think she doesn't know anything. She's like a newborn, all of that. And they just turn Frankenstein monster, Frankenstein, into the world's biggest bitch. That's the only way to put it. He desperately wants her to love him, and he's like, why doesn't she love me? I just want to hold her. And she's terrified of him and all of that. And that's what's going on. But meanwhile, she and Victor Frankenstein are getting very close. He's teaching her how to talk or kind of thing, in meaning or stuff like that. And back in the present, she's looking for this thing called the tourmaline necklace. And I'm thinking, maybe this necklace has some kind of significance to it. Maybe it holds the key to her remembering who she was before she died and came back to life. Maybe he sealed away some of her power, and that necklace will help her to unlock it. Maybe it's something sentimental that somebody who she loved before she died had it and she used to get it. Something like that. No, no, the necklace is just something that Victor Frankenstein found and gave to her because he thought it looked pretty, and that was it. So this whole thing about she hating Dr. Frankenstein, it is a waste of time. And to make it even worse, right? Next thing you see Victor Frankenstein banging she brains out. He's literally performing necrophilia-like sex with this corpse woman. And Frankenstein's monster is standing there watching them. Now, I don't know. Maybe he walked in on them. Maybe Victor was showing him the proper way to get it on. I don't know. But the whole thing is just freaking weird and disturbing. He's banging this corpse woman. That's what's going on. So what does Frankenstein monster do? Viciously murder Dr. Frankenstein in a fit of jealousy and then tells her that, now they can finally be together. She gets all upset, attacks him, the castle burns down, and she takes off running from there. And what does Frankenstein do? Literally stalk her for hundreds of years. I'm telling you, literally stalk her for hundreds of years. She was, and the other weird thing about this woman is clearly a corpse. You can see she's a put together thing of other pieces and of people and everything like that now. And she goes out there and she's getting jobs working in fish markets. She's performing somewhere on Broadway. She's in the war. And he is this, and he just keeps showing up with flowers and things, trying to get her. And every time she's just literally attacking him and running off, riding off on horses, shooting at him, shooting him up in the Old West, all of this. And he is just stalking her for hundreds of years because he's literally the world's biggest simp bitch possible. He's just stalking her, and that's what literally reduced Frankenstein to. So that's it, he's just stalking her. And I get back to the present now. Cersei shows up at the castle, starts attacking them, and then the bride is fighting her while Nina tries to escape and contact Rick Flag, who apparently is who the princess is now coming on to, and then he decides to bang her as well. So Cersei is fighting the bride, and Cersei is like the worst villain I have seen in a long time. Honestly, she has all this so-called powerful magic that she could do. But literally every time she's fighting somebody, she's getting the shit beaten out of her. You see the bride is really punching her through walls, cramming up with slamming her on the ground and all kind of thing. I tell you, the whole thing, I mean, like when she's beating her in this thing and the bride there gets to luck, you're literally on the operating table. She's getting flashbacks on the operating table that that Dr. Frankenstein used to bring the bride into creation. That's the table, that's the same table he was banging she on because, bang she where she was born, I guess. Oh God, they're really bad. I tell you, Cersei's getting the crap beaten out of her, and then how does she win? Turn the bride's hands into inflatable blow up rubber balloon men like thing and then knock her out. And that's it. That's what happens. That's what happens. So then we move on to GI Robot. And honestly, the one interesting thing about this episode was seeing GI Robot just kill Nazis. So that was it. It was bloody, it was brutal. I'll admit it was really bloody and brutal, but I was thinking about it because when you get to find what happened with GI Robot now, he was in easy company during World War II, and he was helping them fight off Nazis, and he was killing Nazis and stuff. Okay. But then after the war now, they literally had no idea what to do with this sentient killing machine that is literally programmed to do nothing other than kill Nazis. They're like, what should we do with it? Okay, so then let's give it to Will Magnus, who eventually goes on to create the robot men and all that stuff and thing like that. But like nothing else. I mean, you just literally leave, and then at some point, like they just completely forget about this highly efficient murder machine that the United States government created, and he ends up in some kind of antique shop and is bought by this collector who takes him home and just wants to have this companion, only to find out that the same guy who bought him is part of a neo-Nazi group. So what does GI Robot do? What he's programmed to do? He kills all of them. Because as far as it's concerned, they're Nazis. And then they do this dumbass thing where they actually put him on trial. Acting like he's a freaking robot programmed to kill Nazis, and these idiots put him on trial, and then he's found guilty. But why would you bloody well put a robot killing machine on trial? Why? That's like putting a freaking dog on trial for crapping in your neighbor's yard. Like, what in God's were you all even thinking with this shit anymore? Oh my God, boy. So when Rick Flag and them do go and rescue the bride and Nina, they realize that Cersei and her people have left and that this was one big distraction so that Cersei could go to the castle and kill the princess. So they get back there. GI Robot is told that these people are Nazis, and he's happy to start killing Nazis and one or the other, but then Cersei ends up destroying him. She goes to kill the princess, but constantly, because like some of her men go to kill the princess, and they're more bothered with finding a way to screw her than to do anything. She ends up killing these men and keep running away. All that. Cersei comes to kill her. No, it's just wasting time rather than just offering her, which is what she clearly wants to do. So what ends up happening? Weasel attacks her, starts literally clawing the crap out of Cersei, and then Dr. Phosphorus places his hand on her face and burns, he literally burns an imprint of his hand into her face, and she's screaming. I'm like, this woman is the worst villain ever. You've done nothing to cement yourself as actually being interesting at all. But then after that, now, she literally tells him, you've all doomed the world. Okay, so what happens now? We move on now to flashbacks of what happened with Weasel. The thing about it is that even in Suicide Squad, Weasel was literally, what is a Weasel thing, whatever you want to call him or the other. Weasel was literally, and I mean literally, accused of murdering children. He's a child murderer. So you were like, okay, this is some kind of murderous thing or whatever than the other, some kind of, okay, good. Then you get a flashback of what happened with Weasel. And he ended up befriending these children, with playing with them and kind of thing. This old guy sees Weasel, thinks he's some kind of werewolf or animal or whatever, and that the children are in danger. So he gets a shotgun, comes there while the children are playing with fire and literally shoots at them and blows the whole place up, killing most of the children. Right? So Weasel didn't actually do anything. When Weasel tries to drag the one remaining little girl who's still alive to safety, the cops show up and shoot him because they think he's done it. And when they shoot him now, they drag him off while he's still trying to save this child, who eventually gets crushed under the falling debris and burned to death. So Weasel isn't actually a child murderer. So basically this entire Task Force M, I should say it, but it's turning out most of them haven't actually done anything. I don't know what the bride actually is in prison for, other than the fact that she isn't human, she's a walking corpse. GI Robot just did what he was programmed to do, kill Nazis. It's the government fault that they didn't actually decommission him or reprogram him or something. They just left him out there, and he did what he did. He killed Nazis. And Weasel isn't actually a child murderer. He tried to help people, and that was what goes on. I mean, when you actually get to the fish woman, she hasn't killed anybody, done anything like that. So it's pretty clear that you're going to find out soon. She is just some innocent woman who looks like a fish thing, and they threw her in there. And maybe Dr. Phosphorus was building orphanages around the world, and that's what happened. It's like, what are you trying to do with this? Are you trying to make it serious? Are you trying to make it stupid, trying to make it fun, trying to make everything, because nothing makes sense. Literally nothing makes sense. And speaking of things that don't make sense, Cersei tells Amanda Waller she's trying to kill the princess to save the world. And if she wants to, she could show her. So Amanda Waller goes in there, and Cersei shows her this vision of the future, because apparently Cersei is also clairvoyant. She shows her a vision of the future, where the princess, who now has a scar on her face, is literally invading and destroying the world. She has like gorilla grodd there with all kind of thing. Her armies are marching out. She's murdered all the members of the Justice League, and literally impaled them on spikes. There you see her in the Oval Office, with the president. Then she's laughing maniacally, and then Amanda Waller is so freaked out by it, because she realizes that what happens when she looks at Cersei, Cersei's crying. And this is what Cersei saw. I don't know how this woman is supposed to do this. Maybe Gorilla Broad helps her to do it. I don't know. You understand? Because her so-called army of one or the other were getting their asses slaughtered by Cersei's sons of Themyscira, who are just a bunch of idiots that she just happened to pick up. So what does Amanda Waller do? She wants to send Rick Flag and Task Force M back to Roscovia to kill the princess. Like, I know Amanda Waller's an idiot. I know that, but this is beyond stupid. What if attempting to murder her is the very thing that sets her off to begin with? What if that's it? But no, don't think about that. So Rick Flag doesn't want to do it. So she basically has the bride now leading the team to go back there and kill the princess. When Rick Flag goes back home, he's attacked by Frankenstein, who believes that, the bride is in love with him. They have this ridiculous fight, and then, they decide that they're going to team up to go and stop Task Force M from killing Princess Rostovich. It's just like it's 4 episodes in to this. I don't even want to call it to this show, with like 7 episodes and 3 left, and I am very confused. I don't know what this show is supposed to be trying to do. I mean, these are supposed to be criminals, and the whole thing about it, but none of them are actually criminals. They're just misunderstood weirdos. And is it supposed to be fun? Is it supposed to be goofy? Is it supposed to be serious? I don't know. The music isn't bad, fine. The animation does look good, yes, but it doesn't make any kind of freaking sense. And I'm sure there's going to be some kind of twist involved in the princess, some kind of thing going on. Yeah, we get that, but all these flashbacks are just proving that these people are just not just a bunch of weirdos. It just doesn't make sense. I don't know what James Gunn is attempting to do with this, and I'm very confused. It just does not live up to this stuff at all. Really not making any kind of sense there. But let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. If you have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like, be sure to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell to be notified every time I put a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.